all for being here for our presentation. My name is Reyes. I'm a fourth-year business administration student at Sonoma State University.
My name is Ninoska, but I like to go by Nino. I am a third-year business and Spanish student with a concentration in management.
And so for those of you who are not familiar with Sonoma, we're about 45 minutes north of the city of San Francisco and just over the hills of Napa Valley in the heart of wine country. And so we are going to be presenting our research on the wine industry and the question of, can diversity backfire? What are the impacts of diversity on consumer perception of brand equity and wine quality? Our faculty mentor is InHaeng Jung, and these are our research group.
So a little background on our research. We did focus on the diversity within the wine business industry since it has been a big issue for hundreds and thousands of years. If you can see at this pie chart that we do have, about 68% of the winemakers are white, and the others Hispanic, African American, Asian, and even American Indians are that minority underrepresented group. So our research does aim to contribute to the ongoing efforts to increase diversity and inclusivity within the wine business industry. So now for our research questions. So our first one is, can diversity backfire? Normally when we think of diversity, we think of it as a positive aspect, but there are also negative things to it. So today we're going to focus on how it can negatively impact the consumer wine perception. And also, how does diversity influence wine brand equity and perceived wine quality?
All right, so some literature review. First we have the stereotype content model, which is a framework that we use in our research. It's a framework used to understand the dimensions of warmth and competence and how that influences occupational stereotypes. And then of course we have occupational stereotypes, which are the perceptions of individuals based on their job title and occupations. Okay, and then our methodology. So our research was broken down into two studies. Study one focuses on occupational stereotypes. So what we aimed to do was identify any pre-existing occupational stereotypes within the wine industry. And so we focused on 5 main occupations, and our sample size was 168 participants. Study two focuses on how occupational stereotypes influence brand equity and wine quality. And so for this study, we used an experimental design where we had 514 participants participate in a randomized hypothetical situation with a wine professional. Both studies were conducted via online surveying through Qualtrics, and the analysis was through IBM SPSS.
So now we're going to the studies of the results of our first studies. So we divided everything into different occupations within the wine business industry, and we focused on competence and warmth. When talking about competence, we're talking about confident, capable, skillful personalities. And when we're talking about warmth, we're talking about friendly, good-natured, and sincere personalities.
Okay, and so some key study one findings that we found. We found that different genders and races perceive various wine occupations differently. So if we look at table 1, we can see that the male gender perceived the winemaker competency significantly higher than those of female and other genders. And if we look at race, we can see that those who identify as Black and African American perceived the winemaker competency significantly higher than the other races listed. We also found that results suggest that there's an inverse relationship between warmth and competence through various occupations. And so if we look at table 2, we can see that the winemaker has the highest level of competency, but also the lowest level of warmth. And with tasting room associate, they have the lowest level of competency, but the highest level of warmth.
And now we're going to go into our study 2 design. So participants were given a tour of a tasting experience by wine industry professionals of different race, different gender, different occupations. And when conducting the study, we did do a pilot test to ensure that we did get the most accurate results. So within our pilot test, we did find one error. It wasn't consistent with every single scenario. We did have a picture of somebody with their arms crossed, which did cause them to become less warm, less confident, come off as that. So this is an example of 1 in 16 scenarios we had. Every scenario mentioned that the person was patient and knowledgeable, but this is Hispanic, his name is Carlos, and he's male, and he's a winemaker.
Yes, so we are still in the midst of analyzing our study 2 data, but some key findings that we found were that wine professionals who were perceived as warmer and more competent had a higher level or had a higher rating of wine quality in the overall evaluation. So this figure shows that warmth and competence has a significant positive influence on both wine quality and overall evaluation, and high wine quality has a significant positive influence on overall evaluation. We also found in this t-test that there are gender differences in the perceptions of warmth, competence, satisfaction, and thankfulness. And some more key findings that we found were that with the level of involvement in wine, this is for all, it's not just genders, it's for all people who are more or less involved with wine. So people who are more familiar with wine or more involved have a higher overall evaluation of the tasting experience, higher warmth, higher wine quality, and higher satisfaction, as opposed to those who are less involved, who have significantly lower levels of warmth or perceptions of warmth, wine quality, and satisfaction.
Now we're going on into our implications. So we do hope our study promotes diversity and equality within the wine business industry, as well as enhance economic opportunities for those underrepresented groups and minorities within the wine business industry. And we also hope to encourage innovation within the wine business industry, since having so many different minorities, it can also lead to different perspectives, which also can also lead to more innovation. Thank you for your time. I know we gave a lot of information. Do you guys have any questions?